well. So expect some flooding. There is going to be disruption to travel as well. So please do take care if you are looking to travel around first thing on Monday morning. But with this rain, it is going to be a windy day as well. Those strong winds coming up from the southwest could even again see some coastal gales across the west country coast as well. But that rain is still going to remain pretty strong through much of the day, with temperatures possibly just a couple of degrees above what we saw on Sunday.
With a chance of zero visibility. Oxford sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9DT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Så er jo det, skjønner jeg, det kan
they are under no illusion. Are you even trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
We do get sort of
every weeknight, my head through the headlines. Should we be worried about it? From
politisk lagt veldig til rette for, da. Og det er forskjell på å lese.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight. Weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB.
Sånn at man må på en måte bevare også et rom for at det er forskjell på. Jeg tror at man må snakke om at det finnes altså, og kanskje gjør det ikke så mye det er noe stort, men det er noe som det mener jeg at det må vi ta på alvor. Men at vi må også sette det skiltet det som er mobbing og trakassering som er noe liksom toleranse og det som er religionskritikk. Men der også går det på å skjønne rommet. Er det liksom også der tenker jeg at
no longer knows what it is or where it's going.
Ja.
A country that's broken.
Så hvordan kan du liksom litt avvæpne folk som når du sier at du ikke liker en bisetning kommer konfrontasjoner da, fordi det er sett i en sånn kristenbås og antar at du da har visse verdier.
Jeg er ikke redd for å si hva jeg tror på. Jeg tror det vil være noe bedre hvis ikke jeg er så påståelig. Jeg synes jo nysgjerrighet er det fineste ordet jeg vet om. Det er mitt favorittord. Jeg synes det er størst av alt er nysgjerrigheten. Og jeg har lyst til å si nysgjerrighet andre kjærlighet. Det vil komme ut av det. Så hvis vi alle fokuserer på evne å være nysgjerrig på hverandre fremfor å liksom være påståelig på det som er tro, så tror jeg det blir bedre.
So join me, Andrew Pierce.
Så spennende. Da har du lomma full av noe du tror på, som du kan mikse med det de andre tror på, så kan man få til noe sånt. Men hvis noen Johanne sier det altså du er heimeværende du da som er kristen eller ja, sånn og da jeg må ned på luka igjen og skape deg bedre venner
Despite that positive forecast from the other, actually, there was a
veldig på det rannsiden om at vi bærer på
And so as the country reels from the budget fallout, we are speaking to farmers to find out how the latest measures are sowing seeds of trouble for them.
There's breaking news this morning. We know that 4 people have died, 10 others injured after a shooting at a child's birthday party in California. Police say the suspect is still at large.
She said to them, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll be there on Wednesday, I'll be there next year, and I'll be back the year after that. God help us. She is spineless, shameless, and completely aimless.
Well, is it Kemi's comeback? Conservatives have risen to their highest poll rating since March, after Kemi Badenoch's furious and fiery comments attack on Reeves' budget. So is this the start of the Tory revival?
And Christmas is nearly upon us. Today marks Advent Sunday, the start of the season when Christians prepare to celebrate.
Dette spennende du sier. Skjønner at du ikke kan så mye om. Vil du være med på
And it's also St. Andrew's Day. Yeah, Scotland is celebrating its patron saint with a full day of singing and dancing and probably a wee whiskey or two.
I'll try everything to win in Qatar, says Lando Norris, who can win a maiden World Drivers' Championship today if he can hold off rivals Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen. It was a thrilling day two of Premier League action. All eyes on Stamford Bridge this afternoon as Chelsea host Arsenal at the top of the table clash.
Hello there. It's going to be a nice and bright end towards the weekend, but as we head into the new working week, things will start to turn a little bit more unsettled. Join me for all the latest.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Amanda, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I should just say you might just urge Jennifer Powers talking at the very, very top of that. We were discussing all things washing, and then Aidan was discussing in the break about, you've got to get your washing dried reasonably quickly or it starts smelling mouldy, and that somehow turned into the smell of teenage boys. And I have to say, as a teenage boy, I never, not currently, I wasn't aware of the smell. All my brothers smell. He's a couple years older than me. But when my nephew was a teenager,
det synes jeg alltid
It is astounding.
my teenager smelled my nephew. He's 25, but he's a father of himself. But teenage boys
hvis man hele tida
at that age
blir parkert
I never had girls, but apparently my
da kan
sister
man
has
si
girls.
hva man vil om den
It is boys
nysgjerrigheten.
that have
Det er jo
that
med de
particular
som
problem.
har
It's obviously-
det som er privilegiet til
I know, it was a never ending.
Det er et
I was
ansvar
doing
vi
the
tar,
washing
da.
all the
Jo, det er et
time.
ansvar vi og jeg
Washing
tenker
all the time and lecturing them
det
about
som
changing the
tilhører en
bedding and everything like that.
majoritet har et stort
You
ansvar
just beg
for
them to
å
hope and
gjøre,
pray that
hva
they
skal jeg
grasp
si,
it, which they do actually.
himmelen høy
Nothing like sticks
og
in the
porten
oven.
vid for å bli litt bibelsk.
Well, yes, but it's not. I mean, it's the pheromones and
det har vi
hormones.
Yeah, it is.
So you can't actually stop it.
No, and it's not fair to be too unkind about it, but you just have to have a routine. But I mean, the reason we got into that is because your Sunday routine involves doing the washing.
I do the washing, so I'll have a
Så
little
det må vi
nap
stå
when I get
sammen
home,
imot.
and then it's up,
Så
and
takk
then
for
sort of washing into piles, and then on with the washing
I
machine.
tell you what you said that makes me very jealous because you have an airing
Og
cupboard.
fortsett å skrive til Stad-appen NRK Radio. Der kan du søke opp etiketten
When a kid sends a letter to Santa.
Jeg skal takke for at det kom. Filosof Ragnhild Folkestad, skuespiller Vince Over og transaktivist Rukan Esset. Kjersti Annevold Bakken heter jeg og med Høyestad her i NRK P2 neste onsdag.
Dette var et igjen av artikkel med Kjersti Annevold.
There's a cupboard there that needs to be an airing because it's brilliant. It's an airing cupboard.
It's just
It's an airing
where the big change the don't get a common boil. So because they break down, we spend more time repairing common boilers and hotels before they break down, which leaves the electricity. So I just went on his advice for British Gas. They say whatever you do, don't get a common boiler. So because they break down, we spend more time repairing common boilers than anything else. If they break down,
And a common boiler takes wood. So I said, why not? Mine hasn't.
Personer ble truffet av skuddene og det var nå døde. Det melder politiet i starten av den amerikanske delstaten.
And a common boiler takes
Hvor alvorlig skadene i områdene er ennå ukjent. Skytingen har fått sted inne i en barnesal der det ble feiret barnebursdag. Forsvaret i byen på Florida. Politiet opplyser at det kan se ut som en målrettet hendelse, men at det ikke
and you do all that also we had a party night with next door. Somebody else was talking about it.
segway, sorry.
Somebody else was talking on it next door.
It's a good effort.
It's already been in touch saying I've got an air fan, but it's got a radiator in it. Yes, you get one of those
segway, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't quite work that out.
It's a good effort. Yeah, I know. I'll keep trying.
It's already been in touch saying I've got an air fan, but it's got a radiator in it. You get one of those
So Keir Starmer signed off on the Chancellor's so-called black hole tax rate, despite an OBR report basically saying it wasn't much of a black hole.
Yes, the Conservatives have now asked the Chancellor to the financial
Keir Starmer signed off
they
on
really
the
want an
Chancellor's
investigation
so-called black
into
hole
what they
tax
call
rate,
possible market
despite an OBR is basically saying he plans to tackle the cost of living crisis tomorrow. Is that an attempt to shift attention away from the economy?
And lots of commentators in the press this morning and voters are now calling for Rachel Reeves to resign. But will she? Is she likely to?
Let's talk political commentator Jennifer Powers. First of all, I think you've got to say, haven't you, the Prime Minister tackling the cost of living crisis, we can't criticise him for that, because it needs to be tackled, but it's just whether off the back of the budget, which seems to be a complete chaos, before and after.
Look, I mean, this is so typical Keir Starmer, isn't it, to have such a disjointed strategy whereby the budget doesn't really talk about growth, despite the fact that they've been talking about growth as their highest priority since they got in office nearly a year and a half ago. The budget doesn't really do much to address the cost of living. In fact, it's going to put the cost of living up for quite a few people. And now, on the Monday after the budget, he's going to do a speech about the cost of living. I mean, as you said, in and of these things are all great. But there's just no through line. There doesn't seem to be any coherence what the government is doing or what it's trying to communicate to the public. So I feel like she's going to get, quite rightly, he's going to get a lot of questioning on the back of that speech, as is the Chancellor.
What I don't understand with this is, and I know there's a lot of criticism of Rachel Reeves, but she's not a stupid woman. You know, the Prime Minister is not a stupid man. These are both, educated, clever people compared to most of us, and successful. So why can they not join the dots?
Oh goodness, that's actually quite an existential question there, in the sense that, why do we have political leaders that are not up to the challenge? Not just this government, but going back years.
Have any common sense?
Well, I think it's part of it. I think, I was disappointed by the budget, not for any partisan reasons, but because the country is facing such huge challenges, whether that be demographic change, whether it be the huge debt that is, impoverishing, future generations. The fact that our public services are creaking and don't deliver very good public services, despite the high taxes we pay. And I really felt like the budget was just this missed opportunity to really tackle any of those problems with any sort of purpose. It just seemed as a way to keep Rachel Reeves in power and Keir Starmer in power. It was how to keep the backbenchers happy, as opposed to what does the country need. So it was very much party above country. It was short term rather than long term. It was done for their own benefit, their own self-interest. Which is their job.
They were campaigned on the opposite of. That's the right way of putting it. Yeah. They said, Keir Starmer said he would always put country before party. And demonstrably, he seems to have done the opposite. And so many of those promises have not been kept. Or at least they seem very dishonest about it.
Well, and the irony is that back in 2023, Rachel Reeves went on the attack, saying that Labour would really respect the independence of the OBR. He was very critical of the way Liz Truss had dismissed the OBR in her mini budget in 2022, and Labour came good on their promise. They actually introduced a charter at the beginning of this year saying that it was mandatory for the OBR to do an assessment of any government budget. So she very much put the OBR on a pedestal and said, Labour's going to treat it with the respect it deserves. And then now there's this open warfare between the OBR and the Treasury. There's been tension simmering for months. The government was really annoyed that the OBR, they claimed was too pessimistic about the economic outlook. And then now this huge back and forth around this forecast.
Well, they were very critical, for instance, of Liz Truss for for not consulting the OBR. And here they are, obviously ignoring the OBR, and actually now it seems sort of in open war with the OBR.
And they mischaracterizing or the sin of omission of not being upfront with the public about the fact that, as you said earlier, there was this £4 billion surplus projection in the public finances. All it seems to lay the groundwork for higher taxes to pay for higher welfare spending, which, is a choice. That is one of the choices she could make. But it really gave us all the impression that this was forced upon her. She was doing the responsible thing to put up taxes by. Just think, since the election, Labour government has put up taxes by $66 billion. That's a huge amount. Not everyone has felt it. It's felt disproportionately on some groups of people. But I do note, speaking very self-interestedly, that my cost of my Uber to come in this morning will go up by 20% because just low VAT. They're putting VAT on private hire vehicles. So this is my own personal. I know the audience says no need to feel that individual. But, it's funny, you take it to get to work when public transport, isn't functioning at 4 or 5 in the morning. So I know it does cost some people. So there's all these, little things that come in that it's only when it hits you in real life that you think, oh, ouch, there's, another hit to my pocketbook. So these were her choices, and she made it look as if she was forced into it, when in fact, they were things she wanted to do.
But then, in a way, why shy away from the idea that they're actually a typical Labour government, higher taxes, higher welfare bill, which is what every Labour government's done well. Maybe excluding New Labour, but every other Labour government has done that.
Well, and New Labour and Tony Blair was different. He inherited a much better economic picture than Rees has. But he managed to get growth in the economy and sustain that growth over a period of time. So that made him an aberration, I suppose. So, this should be an interesting few days. Rees will be in the hot seat. Keir Starmer may as well. And this government continues to breathe from chaos to chaos.
All right, Jennifer, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you later.
Which makes you wonder, would you put any money on Rachel Rees still being Chancellor by Christmas? Friends of GB News confirmed today's new disciple by scanning the QR code that you can see now, or you go to the website and it'll come up. We're asking, would reversing the tax rises restore your faith in this budget? At the moment, 7% of you say yes, 93%. 93% is
yeah, so ignore the graphic if you saw it on your screen. We missed out the 9. We missed out the 9 before 93%. This is the trouble because it's about faith. It's about consumer confidence, public confidence, business confidence in any government, isn't it? And that just doesn't seem to be there at the moment.
It's not going to happen either anyway. They're not going to press it up. They're just going to try and stick it out.
I do look at it. Politicians are a different breed to the rest of us. But why would you want to, facing this sort of crisis and this sort of criticism, why would you want to be Keir Starmer or Rachel Rees at the moment? It must be a nightmare every time you put your foot out the door.
Yeah, it must be awful. But they seem to want the job. They certainly want to hang on to it. Tell you what they wouldn't want is to be a farmer at the moment. Farmers received a modest boost in the budget, you could argue, including a transferable £1 million inheritance tax relief.
Yeah, but many in the sector say the measure fails to address rising costs and long-term financial pressures.
President of the NFU, Tom Bradshaw, joins us now. And a very good morning to you, Tom. I mean, overall, what was your feeling about the budget? Is there much of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for you?
No, it was a massively missed opportunity to try and boost growth, to try and boost investment in our farmers, boost production, that could really deliver the long-term resilience that the country needs to feed 70 million people. So, huge missed opportunity there. Clearly, there was a slight amendment to the inheritance tax. It goes nowhere near far enough to try and safeguard the future of many family farms. But if you are one of those farmers where you already lost your spouse, then the change could be quite significant for you personally. But as an industry, it just doesn't go far enough.
Why is it that farmers have come under all this pressure, do you think, from this government? Because when you look at all the extra stuff that you're going to have to pay out, inheritance being the key key issue, it doesn't actually raise that much money. So it almost seems like a pointless exercise attacking our farmers.
Well, it does now feel like it's quite a deliberate attack.
Build a website you love with a fix.
Vatten har de inte satt in någon mer mätare därför att de har gjort allt, de hade stängt allt. Postpositionen är liksom alltid stängt. Och de måste komma hit med vattenmätare innan man kan få vattenhuset.
Ja, Bill har efter många år med män anlitat en lokal byggfirma. De ska renovera taket, dra ner vatten, avlopp, värme och så gör 2 badrum och 2 toaletter.
Och vissa grejer gör Sebastianos gubbar. Sen är det elektriker som är en helt annan gubbe. Och sen är det rörmokare som en annan gubbe. Men det får inte tappa tid.
Keep moving. Your site grows with you. Add solutions that meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. Smooth to make.
Det är väldigt prisvärt. Så oskönt då.
Idag så kommer de att börja med att riva badrum. Och det kommer att vara ett evigt rivande och ett evigt dammande här. Så försöker vi ta tillvara på de här dagarna nu när de är här för att verkligen förstå i detalj vad det är som de har gjort och vad de kommer att skrika högt över.
And to understand the way you make your livelihoods, the fact that you need enormously expensive equipment, you need land which has to be judged in a different way than the rest of us have bits of land with little houses on top. I mean, they don't seem to understand or even want to understand your way of life. You drive your tractors into London or any of the city centres actually to make a big protest and you get arrested.
Öga mot öga. Alltså, vi har ju alltid gjort det här är renovering, men vi har ju alltid gjort det själva.
Men duschen, gör du med duschplatta eller ljudet kaklat?
Ja, han menar också om vi har kaklat hela väggen eller om vi har...
Men själva botten på duschen?
Det ska det finns sparas. Nu är det jobbigt för mig att jag är helt stressad och att vi måste veta allt.
Jag pratar alltså om spegelbelysning. Jag trodde vi har strömbrytare.
Ja, men ska ladda tandborsten. Fråga för tätt till mig. Det vet jag inte ens om jag vill ha någon. Nej, men det är jättekonstiga grejer. Ja, vänta. Excuse me, it's antique dealer here. Can I just take it? Yeah. Yes, hello.
The opposite. So many people are saying, we're going to increase the value of our farm, but we're now going to have to pay inheritance tax. That's where there was a huge...
Nej, men här, för jag har ritat i varje rum. Och då vill jag ha dem på en höjd på ungefär
And you'll hear about food price inflation and the way that government are trying to do everything they can to try and minimise food price inflation. There's so much government policy is driving that up at the moment.
Alltså på den vägen och den vägen, mitt på väggen.
It's got to go to the retail shelf because farmers cannot absorb the cost increases. But it's all it's doing is driving food inflation with no better returns to the primary producer.
You see, what you've been talking about a lot this morning, Tom, and it's understandable because you represent these people, right? And you're talking about impact on individual families, a sense of humanity, about and understanding what farmers do, and that's absolutely right. Obviously, you can't dispute any of that. But why then does the government, if they're not listening to that, why don't they listen to the argument about food security in this country? Why don't they take a wider perspective and say we need food security and what we're doing is damaging
göra allt för att inte förstöra väggar, ändra någonting som förstör karaktären på huset. Och det är framförallt elektriker som det är ett problem för, men han har hittat sätt hur han ska kunna göra det här utan att driva sönder allt.
It's so unfair that they've decided the group of people that are family businesses are the ones that should be paying the tax. The multinationals and corporations, the listed companies, are never going to be paying this tax. And it just seems so misguided to have attacked family business in the way that this government has done. Yes, I'm here to represent agriculture, but with the changes to BPR, business property, it's all of family business that is being targeted. And yet they're the lifeblood of the local economy.
For days outside so I don't realize it. I trade my heart to
Tom Bradshaw from the NFU, thank you very much indeed. John mentioned a good point. I mean, we try that we focus on farmers, but it is in the family business. You cannot now pass down to the next generation. Maybe been brought in from an early age and they're working through and
and to be punished for those assets, which is the only way you can run your business. There's not any farming right now. Then isn't that crazy? Because it was just going to stop people from continuing businesses.
Any corner shop.
Yes.
You're not going to just be able to pass it down to your kids. To rob. I mean, it's very hard. It's very, very hard. They do say these small businesses and farms fall into that, the lifeblood of our economy. And they're just going to have to be sold, basically, or fold. Anyway, look, the Treasury spokesperson has said our inheritance tax changes protect public services while keeping it fair. 3/4 of farm states will pay nothing, the rest pay half the usual rate, spread over 10 years, interest-free.
Neatly, doesn't it? Right, 7:21. Let's give you an update on this breaking news. 4 people have died, 10 others have been injured following a shooting at a child's birthday party in Northern California.
Yeah, a spokesperson for the sheriff's office said children and adults were amongst the victims.
And the scary thing as well is that, according to police, the suspect is still at large. Officers are yet to disclose the attacker's identity. The motive unclear at the moment.
Jag köket hamnar, men det hamnar inte här. Ni har ett kök på väg. Jag vet.
And is, of course, being controversial of any developments. We'll bring you all
Hallå.
Back here at home, let's find out what the weather has in store for us with you, Mr.
Han är jättebra snickare, men han kan nog det mesta. En snickare som yrke. Är det berättat?
Ja, men det tror du kommunicerar.
Without rude interruption, box boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be a quite bright and cool last day of November, but as we head into winter, it is going to start to turn a lot more unsettled as we start December. But for today at least, we have some nice bright sunny spells across much of the UK. It will be quite a chilly start across Scotland, maybe some icy patches here, and maybe just a few odd showers just drifting in towards the western coast as well. But otherwise, a much more settled day than what we saw at the first half of the weekend. Some nice sunshine. It will feel rather chilly despite that sun. Much of the temperatures not really getting any higher than those mid-single figures. Maybe just a little bit milder across the southwest. But all eyes then turn towards this band of rain that is starting to move in from the west. We will start to see that cloud drifting in towards the west country through the evening. The clearer skies remain across the southeast, but then you'll see this rain moving in towards the Northern Ireland through the early part of the evening and just slowly starting to drift in towards western Scotland as well. But further towards the east, it will be a cold end towards Sunday. Temperatures here may even struggle to get above freezing to end Sunday as well. Like I said, this band of rain will slowly start to move its way eastwards through the evening period and overnight, and we do have some weather warnings in force to start December. So we have yellow warnings across the southwest and the northwest, but we have this amber warning across the southern part of Wales as well. So expect some flooding. There is going to be disruption to travel as well, so please do take care if you are looking to travel around first thing on Monday morning. But with this rain, it is going to be a windy day as well. Those strong winds coming up from the southwest could even again see some coastal gales across the west country coast as well. But that rain is still going to remain pretty strong through much of the day, with temperatures possibly just a couple of degrees above what we saw on Sunday.
Och det bara älskar jag. Så jag känner att hellre det är mycket bättre.
Without rude interruption. Box boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Ibland, jag kan med det.
How do you fancy starting 2026 £85,000 in your bank account, tax-free? Could be yours in our biggest ever cash giveaway.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. You'll get a brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. Chance to win £85,000 cash. Text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, still to come, the Tories are climbing up the polls. I don't think very far, but it's the first time they've gone up for a long time. This all comes, of course, after Camilla Tominey during the budget. Can she really turn things around now? Does it give you any sort of confidence in a revival of fortune for Conservatives rating up?
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. That's right. On Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience. Because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight. Only on the channel, Britain's News Channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
And all the way around it, there's going to be 1 million bricks with 1 million answered prayers, so people can take their smartphones, scan a prayer, and see how it was answered. I'm joined by Richard Gamble, you're the founder of this project. Just tell us about it and what inspired you.
So the concept is we want to bring hope to people. And anyone can to point their phone at any one of the bricks and their phone will light up and tell them the story of answered prayer. And God spoke to me about this 21 years ago, so it's been a roller coaster journey, so it's just a real thrill today that we can get started, and we want to proclaim to
because you were not making sales. I sell digital products that helps creators land payment deals. And before this time, I thought the reason I wasn't getting sales was my content. So changing my strategy, my caption, the way I talked about my offer, all those changes, they all take one meaning to the product. Even though I mentioned my link in bio, link sticker in my story, it took me a while, and I realized that my content was never the problem. It was more I was making it with the product. And I just needed something that actually picked up. That's what made the chat is. Now, when someone comments on my reels, they automatically get them in their DMs. That one shifted to that one. It got people to engage more, so my content actually reached more people. And two, it sent the link straight into the DM where they're more likely to actually open it. That's what probably got more people to the product page, and that's led to more sales. I'm not saying that you need mini chat. I'm just here to say that I started making way more sales ever since I started using it.
See all these tiny bricks on it and realise how big a million is. And I hope as a piece of art that's going to inspire millions of people to think about praying.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some the way ideas clash. You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back. And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people. I say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's News Channel.
Yes, 29 already this morning. Now the Conservatives have risen in popularity to their highest poll rating since March.
I don't think it's very high, though. I'm trying to find out how many points they actually gained. But anyway, it's all after Camilla Tominey's fiery comments attack on the Chancellor's budget.
Yeah, let's have a listen to some of the estimates.
May I congratulate the right honourable lady on delivering her second budget. I hope she enjoyed it, because it really should be her last. At the last budget, she said she was proud to be the country's first ever female chancellor. After this budget, she will go down as the country's worst ever chancellor. It tells you everything you need to know about her grip on the treasury, and if she doesn't resign for breaking her promises, she should sure as hell go for this. What did the chancellor think would happen when she went on breakfast telly to do an emergency public service announcement? I interrupt your Cheerios to bring you this personal message about complaining about misogyny and mansplaining. Sir, Madam Deputy, let me explain to the Chancellor, woman to woman. People out there are complaining because she's female. They're complaining because she is utterly incompetent. She said to them, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll be there on Wednesday, I'll be there next year, and I'll be back the year after that. God help us. She is mindless, shameless, and completely
I'm sorry to say, for some problem.
She was on fire.
She's summoned her in a Thatcher, didn't she?
I mean, she really did go for it. Let's talk to political commentator Matthew Stanton, former Conservative MP. Anna Furr, let's start with you, Anna. You're smiling away. Is this what we should be getting from the leader of the opposition?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kemi's had a very good week. But actually, I've noticed the change on the doorsteps since her devastating conference speech last month. That was really the game changer. And it's a lot more positive for the Conservatives when you're actually on the doorsteps than the media would like you to believe. And yesterday, somebody said something really interesting. They said, look, not only did we like her performance, she stood up for us in the Commons this week, we don't think we have seen the best of Kemi Badenoch yet. So that to me shows not only is she cutting through, but people are appreciating. She's found her feet, she's found her voice, she's got her values, but there's a lot more to come. So yes, I do think that the recovery has started, and I'm much looking forward to seeing and hearing a lot more from Kemi Badenoch.
Yeah, and Matthew, all right, there may be more to come, but there's an awful long way to go if she's going to reverse the Tories' fate. Do you think she stands a chance?
So the poll where there's this tiny bounce back does show a tiny bounce back. It's only 3 points. There's an enormous amount of time to go. What I would say is that the biggest loser from that speech was Robert Jenner, the Shadow Justice Secretary. Because I think what shifted in that speech, and I think you're right, by the way, that it began the speech as it began to shift at the party conference, was internal Tory politics. I think Kemi Badenoch, no doubt about it, assured us her position very weak starting point as leader of the Conservative Party. But does she have the remotest hope of being elected
if she's going to reverse
I really don't think
Tories'
so,
fate?
because the
Do you think she stands a chance?
extraordinary kicking at the last where there's this tiny the signs of a bit of a tiny bounce back, but it is I don't think it's going to result in a Conservative victory at the next election. What I will say is that the biggest loser from that speech was Robert Jenner, the Shadow Justice Secretary, because I think
election with a supermajority
in that speech, and I think you're right, by the way, it began the speech and it began shifting as Keir Starmer's turned around the Tory politics. I think Kemi Badenoch, no doubt about it, assured us her position as a very weak Johnson got a starting point as to lead a Labour supermajority. But does she have the rumours 4 or 5 years later as Prime Minister? I really don't think the game of prediction Tories got the most extraordinary kick. It is not impossible, not totally impossible. The science is a bit of a ride out of the election, but I just don't see it in the Conservative country at the next election. I don't like that speech. I can see it had come through. I can see that she was speaking for a lot of people who feel a lot of anger at Rachel Reeves and the Labour government. I thought it was a bit nasty in places. I thought that sometimes she can come across as a bit of a school bully. Did it have some cut through? Yes. Is this the seeds of some sort of recovery? Possibly, but can I see them winning the next election? Not a hope and help, because don't forget, although there wasn't a massive enthusiasm for the Labour Party at the last election last year, there was an emphatic rejection of Conservatives, and the memories of those 14 years will still, I think, be so fresh in voters' minds in 3 years' time. I just don't think they have a chance.
Anna, a quick response from you, but it has to be quick, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I absolutely think there's a chance of Kemi Badenoch winning the next election, because what's becoming crystal clear is that this Labour government lying away fast. They've lied extensively to us. They are running the economy into the ground. And Kemi, in recent polling, is more popular, much more popular than Keir Starmer, much more trusted on the economy, and much more popular and trusted on the economy than Nigel Farage. If your leader
If the economy is the major issue at the election and your leader is the most trusted on that issue, of course there's a chance of winning the next election. And let's look at the comparison with Mrs Thatcher. Kemi Badenoch, even now, 3 to 4 years away from the election, is more popular than Mrs Thatcher was at the same time. She's even more popular than Mrs Thatcher was 6 months before she won her first electoral mini landslide in 1979. So yes, there's very much a chance.
All right, Anna, Matthew, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. Wow. Do stay with us because next up it's a big day for Premier League clashes as Chelsea are set to host Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Aidan McGee will be here to tell us all about it.
Join me in an interactive news program with different
No, you didn't say that.
Nu har Bill och Marie äntligen kommit igång med renoveringen av familjens sommarhus, det rosa palatset på Sicilien. Den sicilianska byggfirman som de anlitat har lovat att familjen redan till sommaren ska kunna bo i huset. Tanken är att så mycket som möjligt av de gamla detaljerna ska bevaras. Samtidigt är Marie ivrig att få plats för sitt eget uttryck. Och redan nu kommer ett rum att få sin alldeles egna karaktär.
If only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken.
Det tänkte jag att man kanske liksom någon gång ska titta in på något av
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping cities too. From migration to global security to crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why the Late Show is live from Washington DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Tune in to State of the Nation Monday, Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
They are under no illusion.
Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense. And I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't go to the BBC.
Every week I
Should we be worried about
This is like the
cultural chaos?
and then we have
Get ready for it. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight. Weeknights from 9 p.m. only on BBC.
Jag kan säga så här, där ska det rita det strecket och där ska det vara det. Alltså det är mer färgskalan jag känner.
He can say whatever he wants.
And I feel like if you start and when you think like you feel like this is whole thing, this is I like it, and then you can do
It's a bit of a crash landing there for you, Chancellor.
playful things or you know,
Vi skapar uttrycka mig och sätta rum och miljö och bilder. Sen är jag inte så bra på små grejer. Jag gillar ju hus och stora grejer. Jag får rastlös och sitta och se. Jag får rastlös för att måla till exempel. Jag vill bara gå vidare.
Big game at Stamford Bridge. Stamford Bridge 4:30 today. This is probably the biggest game of the Premier League season so far. It will have a global audience up there with the Super Bowl in terms of numbers. Arsenal going now. I was there on the
Email admin is a breeze with Vita. It drafts all my replies and organises my inbox by priority. It saves me at least an hour a day. You can reinvest that time however you want. I'm getting to more networking events and it's already boosted my earning potential.
We'll see as to whether he's starting the starting or whether he's on the bench. But we'll see that will come to pass later today. And let's hear from the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta, who believes Chelsea deserve to be considered top contenders.
The challenge, you know, the opportunity that we have as well on Sunday, so we're fully ready for it.
Det är bra att passa på.
I think we are all there, and they are there because they fully deserve what they have done
in the last few years. I think the squad that they assembled, the numbers that they have, the amount of quality, the manner and the coaching style that they have, it makes sense that what is happening there is very, very positive. They deserve to do it.
So Chelsea win that, they cut their deficit to 3 points, suddenly everything is to play for. Arsenal can extend the lead to 9 points, that would put them out of sight for me, even though we're only in late November, early December. Got the game today with Liverpool, we're all eyes on them because of the situation with the manager. Man United in action as well, from midday, and I want to touch on cricket if I possibly can. Bad news with England missing Mark Wood, their fast bowler, to a recurring knee injury. But I went all round South West London yesterday, 5 different sports shops, trying to find people like the one they're going to use in Brisbane.
That's why they use pink ball.
Because it's a day-night game, so it needs to be luminous, not just for the players, but also for the spectators and for the TV audience. I think we've got a picture of the balls. That's the best I can do, because I went everywhere yesterday. There you go. There you go. So those move in different heats, in response to different heat, in response to different conditions. It's not uncommon for wickets to be different everywhere you go. That's part of the challenge of it. Yes, facing the series. But listen, sometimes it's bowler's wicket, sometimes the batter's wicket. But that material there, it can expand, it can turn in the air differently. And so, unfortunately, I couldn't give you one today, but I'm hopeful I might get one in the flesh to use the touch and feel.
Well, I'm surprised. Why would we have one?
No, well, this is in Australia. No, but you do play indoors, indoor cricket under lights. We do play some, in the 2020 we do play some cricket under lights as well at Kennington and elsewhere, so you do, and it's a shorter form of games, I think it's something we're going to see more of. Why shouldn't cricket be played into the evening? I mean, football's been played in the evening back in 50 years ago, even longer, so I'll see if I can get you a nice ball, but for now you're going to have to do it a picture.
So that'll do for now. Alright Aidan, thank you, we'll see you later.
Just stay with us because still to come, we're going to be looking through the papers, of course, with Emma and Lewis. We're doing so right now. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's where to go.
Denna kulören jag fastnar på.
Men det här är målat, eller vad är det? Eller är det
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely little ball.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Synd bara att det är
Hello there, this is your holiday forecast from the Met Office. It's a little bit changeable across Europe over the next week or so. We do have a few showers across the Canary Islands to begin with. There's some nice bright sunshine for Spain, maybe just feeling a little bit cooler than normal here. For northern Italy, we do have some heavier showers to begin with, and we do have some nice bright sunnier spells for Greece. Now, it does remain a bit unchangeable over the next few days, but for Tenerife, the temperatures are slowly on the rise.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Det är en ovan situation att låta andra göra jobbet i det rosa huset. Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative interactive program with a different horse. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
Join me for Grasso.
Grasso, är det fett?
Ja, titta det är fett.
Men nu ska jag försöka hitta
And I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about autism and why you got involved with this, because some people don't know the story as to why you set up the academy.
Well, I have two sons, they're now 32 and 35. I'm proud to say that my eldest son, Patrick, is in Stockholm on his course. That's like a big step for him to go on holiday, and he's loving it. So they both were diagnosed fairly young, and the support at the time was just non-existent. So we had to set up our own school, and then we set up a vocational college for my youngest son, Angelo.
How do you know that they're autistic? Is there a blood test? Is it something where you have a list of symptoms? Or because some people say, oh, I've got ADHD and this and that, and I think sometimes people conflate it with autism. Are there parallels with the two, or are they totally separate? Because it's confusing.
They're very different from each other, both Patrick and Angelo. So Angelo was diagnosed fairly early at 2.5, 3. He passed all the milestones, and then he just lost everything. His speech, eye contact, didn't want to be touched. We took him at the time, running from one end of the room to the other, squealing, and it was just like, what is going on? And as a mom, you're thinking, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong? Patrick was diagnosed fairly early again, but he was premature, and I thought the difficulties that he was having, because he was 11 weeks premature, I thought, because he had a bit of a difficult start in and out of hospital. And then he was diagnosed at 4, and then we found out when he was 7, when he was struggling at school. he was finding school difficult being bullied. So it's an autism spectrum condition, and if you feel that there might be something that I'm not quite sure, I can't get a handle on it, please go and see your GP and just ask for your child to be assessed. What the difficulty at the minute is to get a diagnosis.
GB News, the People's Channel. The GB Newsroom will bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news champions.
Och så får de bygga. Ja, vi hade en annan tanke än det visade sig.
Look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken.
Du gör mig enormt med riktigt renoveringsjobb här.
Ja, det gör inget.
Friday night.
Jag går ut affären. Ja, men det är så fint. Jag vill någonstans komma fram till den punkten då liksom. Så, nu är det klart.
Ja, det fattar jag.
Så, nu hänger där en linneskjorta och ett par skor. Och sen är där några flip-flops. Och så kan man vara här. Och så vill jag inte då behöva...
Yeah, this is terribly sad. It is the end of a kind of literary era. 6 decades long career that Sir Tom had. My parents hung out with him in the 60s and 70s. My mum has wonderful stories. Gorgeous man, but also a real flirt in a lovely way, in a gentlemanly way. And Mum was telling me last night about a very gorgeous little pink suit that she was wearing that he appreciated, as to say, very much. Yeah, what a lovely man who died at the age of 88. But yeah, I mean, not only a playwright but also a screenwriter. He wrote the screenplay for Shakespeare in Love, which is yes, he won an Academy Golden Globe and an Academy Award, and so many other kind of literary accolades in his career. He was really proud of his Czech heritage, wasn't he, and found out lots and lots about his Jewish roots, but also very British as well. I think he balanced that.
Basically, he became a second language. Yeah, because he didn't speak English until he came to Britain.
Around, I think he was age 9, so it's quite late too.
So he became an absolute master of English, which wasn't his native, his real language.
And people say, what should you see, what should you read? I think you should read Tom Stoppard as well as seeing him on the stage. And there's travesties, and there's jumpers, and there's Arcadia. I would recommend Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, which is so clever, and what you're saying about language there and words, that was the genius, really, of Tom Stoppard. There's one quote I wanted to read you. Be happy. If you're not even happy, what's so good about surviving? And he's so good about life and about mortality and about the fact that life is going in one direction for all of us. Same direction. Time is the only measure. He's brilliant on that. And he's kind of very intellectual but also really accessible.
Den är inte så här pittoresk och gullig och liksom turistlig.
Vi bor ju då innan byn. Ibland.
Follow that boat. Instead of follow that car in Shakespeare in Love. Follow that boat.
Lewis, can we have a look at Sunday Telegraph? Looking at town clocks in Britain. These are part of our heritage. It's called hard times, they call it. So almost 1 in 6 town clocks in Britain no longer work. Just under 15% of public clocks on council-owned buildings cannot be used to tell the time. And I hate seeing this because when you walk around and you see these broken clocks, such a sign of a declining Britain. Are you joking? We've got these beautiful, gorgeous buildings that were made hundreds of years ago, and then we've inherited them, and we can't even keep the clocks working. I mean, it's pathetic, and it's not just the clocks as well. It's, the fact that you can never find public toilets now, and as someone who's got 2 little kids that, Daddy, I need a wee now, and you can't find a public toilet. I mean, it's just, at the time when we've got sky-high tax and council tax, you just think, you better damn well make sure those clocks work.
There's one that makes me really sad, and I live in central London. Southern Cathedral, which must be one of the most beautiful buildings, the oldest, most important for our heritage. Southern Cathedral, the clock doesn't work. It's been stuck on midday or midnight for probably 5-10 years. And it may be that it's one of these very, very old, kind of ancient mechanisms.
Mechanism is probably very expensive.
Very expensive, because look at the work on Big Ben, for example.
They are expensive to repair when they are properly broken. They should lift them.
They should. And you're right, it's part of a sign of decline, like no public lavatories, clocks broken, no bins in the street, that kind of thing. Potholes, exactly.
Hon är inte så noga med att skicka för den kanske bara ska ställa till en bil. Sen har den gjort
shortage of Christmas trees.
Well, we were talking, weren't we, about you've already got your tree up. I think Anne's got her tree up already.
Yes, it can.
Ja, men det är gångavstånd till tåget.
And is it 6 foot?
It was sold as a 6-footer. It's about 4 foot.
Tree descriptions. I wish we could see a picture on screen of Stephen's tree, because it's really amazing. It's amazing. How many lights? 1,500 Christmas tree lights on one tree. It looks stunning.
Are you going to put up a tree?
I will for my 5-year-old. I will.
I really love my Christmas decorations, to be honest. And this year, we put it up yesterday. It was just marvellous. All the decorations. It's taken me years to get the tree and the decorations and everything to work just right. And my hot tip was the tree we got is 8 foot. We brought it in the sale a few years ago, and it's just magnificent. I love it.
Well, this one is claiming, because of this short a 7-footer was £110.
Now can cost up to £110 because of spring frost.
It depends where you go. I mean, ours was
very jätteintressant som vi ska göra ett färdigt utskick. Och det är då att vi målar på väggarna. Det är ju det som är det färdiga ytan. Samtidigt så kommer här in handverkare som är redo för att börja såga i samma väggar. Och i normal bygge så gör man ju det först och sen det sista man gör är ett färdigt utskick. Men hon kommer vara färdig före de ska spåra. Men så är det i familjen Olsson i landet, så att vi bara låter det vara, vi låter det göras och sen får vi fixa till det sen.
Once you have your first version, you just keep going. I add dark blue, polish the transitions, and make sure the best part, I can just stay in one. No blockers, no switching tools, just build. So start with your idea. Base 44 does the rest.
Men vi valde att mer skulle kunna låna in.
There's a Brussels sprout shortage as well because of the hard
det var utställningar.
Well, anyway, this is to do with the spring frost, the heat wave, and climactic problems.
I think it's cool. Mosquito. Yes. Mosquitoes are my favorite.
With a chance of zero visibility, Box Toys sponsors the weather on GB News Wonderland.
Good morning. This is your GB News and weather update from the back office. It's going to be a quite bright and cool last day of November, but as we head into winter, it's going to start to turn a lot more unsettled as we start December. But for today at least, we have some nice, bright, sunny spells across much of the UK. It will be quite a chilly start across Scotland, maybe some icy patches here, and maybe just a few odd showers just drifting in towards the western coast as well. But otherwise, a much more settled day than what we saw in the first half of the weekend. Some nice sunshine, but it will feel rather chilly despite that sun. Much of the temperatures not really getting any higher than those mid-single figures, maybe just a little bit milder across the southwest. But all eyes then turn towards this band of rain that is starting to move in from the west. We'll start to see that cloud drifting in towards the west country through the evening. But clearer skies remain across the southeast. But then you'll see this rain moving in towards the Northern Ireland through the early part of the evening and just slowly start to drift in towards western Scotland as well. But further towards the east, it will be a cold end towards Sunday. Temperatures here may even struggle to get above freezing to end Sunday as well. Like I said, this band of rain will slowly start to move its way eastwards through the evening period and overnight. And we do have some weather warnings in force to start December. So we have yellow warnings across the southwest and the northwest, but we have this amber warning across the southern part of Wales as well. So expect some flooding. There is going to be disruption to travel as well, so please do take care if you are looking to travel around first thing on Monday morning. well. Those strong winds coming up from the southwest. We could even again see some coastal gales across the west country coast as well. But that rain is still going to remain pretty strong through much of the day, but temperatures possibly just a couple of degrees above what we saw on Sunday.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Och jag var själv i Växjö. Och det var jättejobbigt att komma hem. Jag kom hem och söta morgon. Och så var det ingen som mötte. Schweiz blev alltid jätteglad. Han hade fram till mig och väntade mig. Och det var kallt i huset. Det var inte alls kul att komma hem. Men idag så måste jag
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it.
Jag har beställt containers som ska ner med möbler och massa annat till
That's right. All Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience. Because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debate, same big topics, same big opinions. Every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight. Be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the people's channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com
som kommer från en gammal skola någonstans här tror jag i Skåne. Och vi har det som är unika är att alla är likadana. Nu ska de till Cecilia till Cirillo.
Is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Den har vi inte använt. Den har alla använt. Det här är ju program med chicken. Jag tänkte på vad vi fick iväg med döda. Det känns ju inte att misslyckas.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Det är jäkligt fult det. Och GDD har bäst att hålla sig undan känner jag. Jag känner mig skyldig till att de lider.
Completely different to the landscape. The mainstream
snart ska familjens första flyttas åka iväg mot Sicilien. För om en månad är det sommar och tills dess har byggarna lovat vara klara med renoveringen. Det ska bli familjens första sommar i det rosa palatset. Det är en fantastisk ort med en 360 lång. Och de är så fina. Man kan se att den är otroligt fin. Den här vägen är jättemycket. Jag vet inte om... Ja, vi får se hur det här ska gå till faktiskt. Farmor är här och jag är jätteglad för det för hon passar munnen lite. Han är lite orolig om jag bara kommer ut och då vill han direkt lite grann. Så jag får ta hand om honom plus jag pannkakor. Och den här har som skydd, den var rassen. Den tar mycket skydd. Den tog med mig, den ska Susanne sova på. Syrran, hon ska ha säng hade hon tänkt. Hon får sova på den. Jag längtar efter att få sätta våra grejer där och bädda upp och liksom säga använda hela tillsammans. Sen är det här.
Good morning, it's crunch time, Prime Minister. as he tries to rescue the Chancellor's budget and tackle the cost of living crisis.
And it follows revelations that Sir Keir Starmer actually did sign off on Rachel Reeves's tax-raising budget, despite knowing himself as well as her that actually it was a positive forecast for the year.
Pressure is now mounting on the Chancellor.
Sad breaking news from America. 4 people have died, 10 others injured after a mass shooting at a child's birthday party in California. And the police say the suspect is still at large.
She said to them, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll be there on Wednesday, I'll be there next year, and I'll be back a year after that. God help us. She is spineless, and completely shameless.
The Conservatives rise to their highest poll rating since March after Kenny Badenoch's fiery Commons attack on budget. Is this the start of a Tory revival?
And Christmas is nearly upon us. Yes, it is. Today marks the first Sunday of Advent, the start of the season when we anticipate everything that's going to happen around Christmas.
It makes St. Andrew's Day just as big as St. Patrick's Day, and everyone's celebrating across the country.
And let's raise a dram to St. Andrew's Day. Scotland celebrates its patron saint with a day of singing, dancing, and a drink or two.
I'll try everything to win in Qatar, says Lando Norris, who can win a maybe the World Drivers' Championship today if he can hold off rivals Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen. It was a thrilling day of Premier League action too, but all eyes on Stamford Bridge this afternoon as Chelsea host Arsenal atop the table.
Hello there. It's going to be a nice and bright end towards the weekend, but as we head into the new working week, things will start to turn a little bit more unsettled. Join me for all the latest.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just sold our slow cooker.
Det är så kallt på golvet.
We bought a slow cooker and then just never used it.
Yeah, I've never used one.
No, well, and now I've just seen Nathan Anthony in the Sun this morning has got 2 recipes. One for a slow cooker Baileys and Lindt hot chocolate, and one for a slow cooker Terry's chocolate fondant.
You cook them in the slow cooker?
You can cook them in the slow cooker. You can make pudding. Yeah, on the top.
I didn't know you could either.
In the flooding thing.
Is it just for the
It's enormous. I can't imagine making it.
Yeah, perfect.
I can't imagine making a pudding that big.
But why not?
I suppose you could do it in the air fryer.
Oh, well, no, you just cinnamon rolls in the air fryer.
I tried something yesterday that I've never heard of before, but you know when you are on YouTube, which is
Du ska promovera denna,
you get
och då är
diverted,
det
don't you?
promoverad i
I
typ
watched this
30
thing
dagar.
about cooking a
30 dagar tar det.
Du hade ingenting med skinn?
Nej,
Onion flour.
det
I've
känns
had
så.
those
Jag har
in
redan tömt halva huset, det bara ekar där inne.
a blooming onion.
Blooming onion. Yeah, they do Australian
You get a
outback.
big onion and then you slice it down so that when you put it in cold water, it opens up like a flower.
And then you deep fry it.
And then you deep fry it.
It's the most unhealthy thing you can eat.
I nästa avsnitt.
But they're all
Det känns lite fånigt att man hade de här container, för det här känns så jättefel och det är det. Och här är ingen container.
Quite get it right.
Jennifer Flowers, you know, is here. You may as well bring her in on it.
Hello, darling.
You must have been to an outback.
Do you know what a blooming onion is?
It's not bad, it's about 40% of Discovery Cove Orlando. That's an extra 20% Cove Black Friday. Visit a generous package for a relaxing day outside of the parks. Chill out on white sand beaches, get up close with amazing animals and swim in clear waters. Food and drinks are included all day long, as well as snorkels, towels, animal safe sunscreen and more. Plus, book the Discovery Cove Ultimate Package to get 14 days unlimited access to world-class rides and attractions at SeaWorld, Busch Gardens and Aquatic. Visit attractiontickets.com today to secure your tickets.
Venezuelas president Nicolas Maduro
they're just cookie type things, snacks. But there is a funny
Funnion.
I don't know.
F-U-N-Y-U-N.
Right. Funnion.
It's,
I don't know. But if you go to certain, fast food type restaurants in the States, you can order a Funyun, and it comes like that, and it looks a bit like a
sosiale medier ser Trump at luftrommet over Venezuela skal ses på som stengt. Oppfordringer til narkosmuglere og menneskesmuglere ifølge presidenten. USA antyder båter som ble skuldet for utrensning om ikke landet bevis til 80 mennesker ble ransaket. Maduro-regjeringen omtaler Trumps siste utsegner som en kulissestrussel og sier det er forsøk på å trekke suverenitet i USA. Maduros valgsignal i fjor ble av det brede internasjonale samfunnet sett på som illegitim. Presidenten mener amerikanerne forsøker å styrte ham.
Anyway, look, enough of that and on to the serious stuff, because pressure is mounting on the Prime Minister after it emerged that he signed off on the Chancellor's so-called black hole tax raid, despite that OBR report saying there wasn't that much of a black hole.
No, in fact, surfeit. The Conservatives have now reported the Chancellor to the financial watchdog, urging an investigation into possible market abuse.
Well, meanwhile, on top of all this, the PM's expected to unveil new plans to tackle the cost of living tomorrow. Is that then trying to sort of move the focus away from the budget?
Well, voters are now calling for Rachel Reeves to... Everybody's calling for Rachel Reeves to resign, basically, except the Labour front bench, as far as I can see. Joining us now, political commentator Jennifer Powers. Can I ask you, funny enough, not about Rachel Reeves, first of all, but about Kemi Badenoch's attack on her in the budget counter-speech. What did you think? Was it too brutal, or is that what we expect nowadays and haven't had for a while?
No, I thought she was incredibly effective. I think she's really stepped up and seems to have grown into her role over the past, I don't know, maybe 8-10 weeks, certainly this autumn. There's been some change in her team around her, which I think has made some difference. But I also think it's quite a strange job. I mean, leader of the opposition, when you have such a decimated party, I think it's just taken a while for her to find her feet. So no, I thought looking at it objectively, she did a great job. I thought all this talk about, is it bad for her to have a woman to attack another woman? I thought that in itself was sexist, because I think that we should all be held to account for how well we do or not in a job, and it shouldn't matter whether we're a man or a woman. So I thought that was rubbish.
It's interesting. It's all about resonating with voters, isn't it? I mean, that's how you win elections at the end of the day. And I think, without people saying it was too nasty, she was too much of an attack dog.
Forsvaret får kritikk fra flere hold etter at en fregatt ble senket i Sandfjorden. Vi tør ikke bruke området mer, sier fisker fra Senja. Det blir gullkamp til siste i eliteserien, og norske klubber og landslag har levert internasjonalt. Årets sportskommentator kaller 2025 for det beste norske fotballåret siden årtusenskiftet. Og slikt får jo voksne menn to gråte og tårer og til hans i dag. 3 av 5 partier på rød-grønn side har blitt enige om statsbudsjett, men det er ikke flertall i Stortinget, så hva skjer nå?
Usually the story of a party doing well, and I think things have become more interesting lately because we have the Green Party, which continues to do well. Many people call Zach Lansky a charismatic leader. I don't myself find him especially charismatic, but he is finding that traction with the public. And then you have the Tories doing just a tiny bit better than they had been. So
how do you think,
very interesting,
having seen Kemi now doing her bit, and very accomplished it was too, how do you think Nigel Farage would do if he had the similar position, so that he had the opportunity to stand up and dispatch?
Well, I think he would likewise, I mean, be quite vicious, ruthless in his attacks. I mean, he does have a very straight-talking way about him, so I can't imagine that he would pull his punches. In a way, I mean, it's always more difficult for a man to attack a woman verbally than it is for a woman to do it, I think. So that could actually, from a, I appreciate that shouldn't matter either, but at least from a perception standpoint, some people could be critical of that. So no, I think this budget just shows, though, doesn't it, that reform is sort of out of the picture. This is the news story. You know, they're usually center stage. They're still leading the polls. Although, you know, I feel like that gap is a little bit.
It's a bit tighter
than it was with the Greens and the Tories both doing better. Lib Dems just seem to be stuck at 12-13%, although their vote is very concentrated until they get a disproportionate number of seats. I think they have 72 now, don't they? But yeah, I think what's interesting for reform is it's a new era because they can't sit on their laurels. I mean, Nigel talks about how he's not complacent. If they really do want to get a majority in 2029 or whenever the election comes, which I'm sure they do, they're really going to have to work for it. It's not just going to land in their lap because it is such an open picture here in terms of what happens.
And in terms of what we've got today, I mean, in a way, it's getting a bit repetitive. You say, you know, people are calling on Rachel Reeves to resign. Well, that's been going on for a while now. But it's just whether there is actually more credible reasons for her to resign. And indeed, pressure on the Prime Minister, if he actually knew and signed off on what would appear to be an untruth what was being said ahead of the budget.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that there will be enough wiggle room in terms of the OBR forecast and what it said, and she never came out all the briefings to the media, and in the speech that press conference she gave bright and early one day for the lobbying for the general public. There'll be enough wiggle room in that change. She was just laying the groundwork for tax rises. She brought in tax rises, so I suspect the Labour backbenchers will be in no mood to get rid of her. Especially given the very Labour budget we've discussed that she delivered. So, you know, we have a full fat Labour government. We have record high taxes, we have record high spending, we have record high welfare payments. It's what the Labour Party wanted. They're very happy about that. And I think they'll probably ride out this storm. Keir Starmer will, you know, as we know, is scheduled to give a speech. I don't know, I tend to find his speech is a bit underwhelming. So I can't imagine that
I should miss Angela Rayner. Because I was just thinking of fire in her mouth. Well, she doesn't speak like a robot. Which a lot of people do.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? I find that Starmer just sort of deflates a bit when you're talking. You know, he sort of sucks the life out of any room. So I can't imagine that he'll sort of energize things for the party. But obviously it's his role, and he should give it a go. I mean, he's the leader of the country and the party, and you know, he should try to
how politics is changing, and it's almost back to the Camilla Tominey Talk Show as to why she did so well in that response to the budget. It's because she was talking the language of real people. It's how people are talking down the pot, which is what Nigel Farage does as well. The idea that you get the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, we had the Education Secretary on the other day, who are so brief. I mean, you could ask them what time it is, and they'll just give you a response that they're pre-prepared. It doesn't matter what you ask them.
Yeah, there's a lack of authenticity there.
And politics has changed. The public have changed. We expect a degree of authenticity.
Well, we respond to people that we see as authentic, or we sense are authentic, whether they really are or not.
Sortera som en vaskemaskin och hänger igen då, så hänger igen diskrenke och lavar sammen med lusiktig mat som blir transportert opp fra dyphavet og gir god overlevelse. Så det er veldig naturlig og spennende område. Og du sier, du har vært overrasket og du hørte at en av disse fregattene var senket av svensk konflikt. Kanskje aller mest fordi at jeg kjenner det fra forskningen som et område for fisk og for rekruttering til fiskebestander. Vi kjenner jo fra tidligere rapporter at om lag 70% av de kommersielle fiskebestandene i Norske hav og Barentshavet, de har